Well, coming up next here on Overtime, we'll check in with our buddies over in New York. If you weren't with us last week, we had two of our friends that Mark knows really well. They joined us on the show last week. They had some great insights from last week, and they'll have some great insights on the Super Bowl. We'll have that coming up next. Last week here on Overtime, we were joined by some guys that Mark knows over in the New York area from WorldWideRadio.com and WorldWideSportsRadio.com, I should say. Tell us about your buddies for those that were there last week and kind of the insights that they bring and some of the things that they do on their radio shows.
Errol and Speedy are on Mondays from 6 to 8 on Down to the Wire, and they have a number of guests. What they do really well is they interview a lot of these recruits that you saw on the board today. They did an excellent job of getting guests during the pandemic that wanted to talk about where they were being recruited, and it had a number of interesting interviews. But they also, look, New York sports is a little bit different. Down here, it's more college-oriented. Up in New York, it's more pro-oriented. But the one thing we have in common is the love for our sports teams.
Right.
And the ability to break the things down and to look and to analyze almost every little aspect of the game. When you talk Alabama football with people down here, man, they know every little thing that's going to happen from start to finish, from the coin toss all the way through the final snap. And same thing with these guys in New York. They're able to analyze things on a pro level, a little bit different than on a college level, but their love for sports and their enthusiasm is something that there's common ground on.
Exactly. Errol and Speedy were on a Zoom call with us, and we talked everything about Super Bowl 55, also some game predictions. They obviously had a great show. You can catch them at WorldWideSportsRadio.com. Here's their take on Super Bowl 55.
I think Bruce Arians is one of the ultimate offensive minds we've ever seen in professional football. Same thing with Andy Reid. That's why you have the battle of ultimate offensive minds in the Super Bowl. You have Bruce Arians and you have Andy Reid. Two very smart, offensive-minded guys that can find a way to win and find a scheme up how you can beat defenses. I can't bet against Tom Brady, especially with Fisher tearing his Achilles, losing their star offensive player. But I love Andy Reid. I've always loved Andy Reid. Besides the Jets, my second favorite team, I'm a Donovan McNabb fan. I know people think I'm crazy. I was an Eagles fan. I love Andy Reid. Think he's one of the greatest offensive minds of all time. He won the Super Bowl last year. Why not see Andy Reid do it back-to-back times? The last team to ever do that was the Bill Belichick Patriots. So I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs because I think Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and some of the great offensive minds and great offensive power that they have. And hopefully, and I can't stand Steve Spagnuolo. I can't stand him. He's a terrible defensive coordinator, a.k.a. a la the New York Giants. I think that they're going to be able to hold up. I think they're going to be able to hold up. I got Kansas City winning a very close game, 21-17.
Speedy, what you got?
All right. Two quick things before that. One, Steve Spagnuolo is very good as a defensive coordinator. Don't listen to Errol. And two, all you Alabama basketball fans, the team is legit. And I'm saying that
absolutely
from Bama. They are legit. They're a really good team. Watch out for them. I have Tampa in it. The one thing I worry about the Chiefs is two things. One of which is their matchup against the tight ends concerns me. You got Gronk, who torched the Chiefs many times with the Patriots in the past. Now, obviously, Gronk is different now, but still, it's a matchup to expose. And Cameron Brate, who's a good tight end, he'd start on probably 20 other teams right now. He's just stuck behind Gronk right now. That's a tough matchup for Kansas City. The other thing that scares me, too, and I say this about sports all the time, a team, how much can you actually ride a streak? The Chiefs haven't lost a game legitimately since week 5 when they lost to the Raiders. That scares me too, that they're kind of due for that. And I think Tampa, there's something special with this home stadium type thing. They beat the Saints the way they did, destroy the Saints the way they did. And then going to Lambeau, which a lot of people didn't give them a chance at Lambeau. They won that game too, and they dominated most of that game as well. So I have Tampa, I'm going to say 26-20.
Interesting dynamic. So we'll have some bragging rights on the line there between Errol and Speedy, and one going Chiefs, one going Bucks, and we'll see who wins out there. And many, many thanks to both of those guys. WorldWideSportsRadio.com. You can also catch them on their YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and other platforms. Do some great stuff there.
You got to love the passion.
Oh, for sure.
Just screaming at it.
And
Steve's back now, it stinks.
and you could tell off the jump, and we'll try to have them on a lot more as talk about other sports outside of the region, especially as we get into sports in the New York area. Before we go, I wanted to hit some Super Bowl props. Obviously, with the Super Bowl, we have different props that are all across the board. And you have everything from the coin toss to passing yards for Brady, Mahomes. Do any of these stick out to you? I know we saw some on the earlier graphic. Do any of these stick out to you as far as ones that you might think that you could take Vegas on?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't take Vegas on because I'm not very good at it. I don't have very much luck. But you notice that this is like a national holiday for everybody. Everybody that, whether they like football or not, usually is in some sort of betting thing, whether it's they'll take a cube for if the score is this, if that ends with a 3 or a 4 at the end of the first quarter.
Right.
Every Super Bowl party you go to, you have people that have no idea what football is, have no idea, never watched a football game before, who are like, well, what's the score at the end of the first quarter? Is there a 4 or a 3?
Right.
So those are the little things that I think are interesting to watch people who normally have no interest in it. The other thing is like just how in-depth these bets get. Will there be a safety?
Right.
There have only been 5 safeties in Super Bowl history. Plus 700 for yes, negative 1429 for no. It means you have to bet $100 to win what, $1,400?
Right.
So it's or $1,400 to win what? Reverse. I don't understand it.
Put $1,400 down to win $100.
To win 100. There you go. Okay.
Right.
So I mean, just those things are like so interesting to look at. Both teams score over 24 points a game, yes, plus 100, no, negative 130. So if you want to bet on anything, you can in this game. I think that's what people like about it so much is gives them reason to pay attention to every little thing that happens.
Exactly, and you have that last one there with Mike Evans, 100 plus receiving yards, and the Bucks win. $100 wins you $390, and I think it'll be a fun night of gambling, I'm sure, for a lot of people.
And I do have one.
Everybody is that loves the entertainment purposes of the sports game. Coming up next here on Overtime, we'll shift our attention to basketball. Auburn played a game last night.